So I think it was March 2011, earthquake followed by tsunamis and all that. When that happened, we were about 2 hours into Liberty in Malaysia, and you don't get a lot of Liberty on Muse.
No.
So about 2 hours in, we're supposed to be there for 4 days, and we got recalled immediately. So hey, no more free time. We're going to Japan to help out with this. So Malaysia's around the equator, it's probably like 100 degrees when we were down there. And in about a day to a day and a half, it's snowing outside because we're just rocketing up in the ship as fast as we can. So it was a huge temperature change on the way up. On the way up, they were briefing us saying, especially the crew chiefs and the people that are going to be flying out, they're saying our job is likely to be finding and gathering bodies and loading them up in the back of the helicopter and flying them to um, a gathering, a collection point for, and doing that for probably a few weeks. Um, Luckily, selfishly for me, that wasn't the job we ended up doing because I probably would have lost my mind, like, and my sanity. But luckily, Japan did that the nation of Japan did that for themselves. And then what they asked the US to do while we were there, so our ship was just floating off the coast of northern Japan, was to deliver um, hygiene equipment since it was freezing cold and snowing in Japan at the time. A lot of blankets, water, lots of cases of bottles of water, and food. Because I think when it was all said and done, it was about 10,000 plus people dead. Um, the ocean was so trashed from all the debris that the wave came in and basically ripped down miles of houses and then washed them back out to sea. So it looked like your bathtub would if you just dumped a bag of mulch in it. It was just pieces of house and things floating in the ocean. The ship was hitting it coming in, and it was just a mess. Boats were 1, 2, 3 miles inland, just flipped upside down on top of crushed houses, and very, very weird and just unbelievable looking. So, um, along with that, after flying in a bunch of equipment gear and stuff, and the Japanese people were very thankful for that job, and it was just nonstop flights in and out, doing that for probably 3 or 4 weeks. Um, but the difficulty that added to that was all the radiation issues that we had to deal with flying around radiation with the nuclear reactor that basically exploded. So every single time we left the ship and flew back in, we had to be scanned for radiation. So we were wearing masks, kind of like we are now, to cover the radiation from breathing it in, and then basically fully undressing, washing off, putting new clothes on, and then going into the interior of the ship. I think there was one ship, I forget the name of it, is an aircraft carrier. I think it's the Reagan or something like that, that got infected with radiation, and it went throughout the ship, and it caused um, a lot of issues for them. But I think the worst part was taking out and doing maintenance. So we grab our toolbox. We have rubber gloves, big rubber boots, hazmat, like full hazmat suits, and masks going out to do maintenance. And oh, so forgot a screwdriver. Go back to the other entrance, get fully radiation scanned, take all that gear off, wash it, go inside, grab your screwdriver, put all that back on, and go back out again and work. So, and anytime you had to come in to sign something or check new tools out or grab something else, it was full undress, full dress all day for 12, 14 hours a day that we're working on that shift. So that was difficult. And I don't know if you remember the hazmat suit, big black rubber
Yeah.
gloves we had,
Yeah.
working with tiny little, safety wire and, little bolts and nuts and bolts and stuff with those huge gloves on was almost impossible. So along with flying in and stuff, which that was the first time I felt like my job in the Marine Corps was meaningful beyond training and fixing aircraft. You know, maintenance, hey, it's fixed, it's going out and fly, come back, kind of like with the trucks you're talking about. You know, you're just fixing things and it goes out and you don't see the what it's doing, what those trucks are doing. But it was seeing the people of Japan happy to see us getting the stuff that they needed, um, and actually providing humanitarian support for a country that was just crushed at the time was very, very meaningful. And like, it was something that if I didn't ever do anything else, even if I got out and didn't do recon or whatever, it was, it was enough for me to be like, okay, I did something good for the world. So that was a good experience. It was hard to see. There were times like in that all that debris in the ocean where we saw some bodies and try to call people to get recovery of those things, um, and it was a tough time, a shock to see, but I was glad I was a part of it and was able to help at the.
Were you were you guys concerned with the radiation? Like were you like, hey man, we might be killing ourselves right now, but we got to keep going. Like was that kind of the thing, or like how bad was the concern? I mean, obviously it was bad enough where your Seaburn guys had a full washdown setup. So
Oh yes, it was a huge concern at the start. um, like the first month or two we were there. The first month we were there, it was like you're scanning everything. It was hours of, we washed the aircraft every like 2 3 times a day to get all this radiation debris and stuff off. But then it kind of came out that it was particles, it was like dust. You could just wash the radiation away, and as long as it didn't get into your lungs, you're probably okay. um
you're probably okay.
Probably okay. Yeah, it was kind of like that. Like, there's nothing we can do about it. We have to be here. There was like kind of distance bubbles we'd fly around, like kind of like a 6 foot,
Yeah.
just like stay this far away from the nuclear reactor, and we'd like make our flight routes based on that. And so we weren't like flying into the heart of where the nuclear reactor was, but we were definitely in some radiation zones.
Did
As
you
with
see
it,
the reactor from where you were flying in? Did you ever see it?
I didn't see it. No.
No.
Um, I don't know exactly
Probably
how
smart.
close we were to it. Yeah. But I think there's it was just cool to see because I grew up in Hawaii, and I didn't see snow until I was 9 years old.
Hmm.
And when I saw snow, there was no ocean next to it. But I think it was the first time I saw like just a ton of snow right next to the beach, which was it's just a different world when I got there.
Yeah.
And then with miles and miles of houses that are not houses anymore, it's just chips of wood all scattered all over the place and in the ocean. It was just different, tough to see. But as far as the radiation went, they took it seriously. We wore our gear. We got constantly checked, and then we had like health assessments after the deployment up until I checked out. And once I checked out of that unit in Japan, which is like 2012, I've never been checked for radiation again. I don't know if they just forgot if it's my medical record or not, but
I was gonna
it's
say I feel like that's something you might want to make sure is in your record before you get out. you know?
yeah, for sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll
Dang.
we look into it. So
I think that's a great example of like so there's so many people out there that are ignorant of the military that they think everyone in the military is like infantry and the only job is to go kill people. And it's like, bro, there's so much humanitarian stuff. Like there's guys in Haiti right now. How often have we seen anything about Haiti on the news and about the Navy and the Marines and everybody that's down there right now supporting Haiti? There's like none, it's not on the news at all. But that's one of these missions, like going out and helping these people like that. Like that's I wish more people knew about things like that. I think some people kind of learned more when they brought in those hospital ships during COVID. People are like, oh yeah, hey, we got these things. Like we don't just go and smoke people. These are like things that we try to
yeah,
help out. So that's a perfect example of immediate reaction. You're on Libo, 2 hours into Libo, get the phone call. You probably thought they were fucking around at first, right? When they were like,
oh
hey,
yeah,
you're like, shut
everybody come
up.
back. Yeah, that's exactly how I went. They're like, hey, everybody come back. Limo's done. They're like, no, it's not. So people were. It kind of took a while to gather all the Marines and the sailors because some people were just like, I'm not listening to that, and
Yeah,
just
they're
kept.
probably like, fuck this. I'm gonna get some beers before they find me.
Yeah, and that's pretty much how it went down. Shore patrol had to like round people up, and that was an impossible thing. It took. We didn't leave till the next morning. I'll just say that
But
it took a
still,
while.
though, I mean, thousands of Marines and sailors,
Oh,
you
it's
gather
hard.
them up in what 15 hours, and you know you're on the way out. Like the
Yeah,
response, it's hard to match something like that.
yeah, it was quick. Yeah, we were. I think we got let off the ship around noon, and we had everyone back that before midnight. So just a few hours, but everyone's trying to get a beer in
Yeah, for
before
sure.
heading back. Yeah,
Um,
because we,
so
we didn't know.
so after that, it says you went to Marine One.
Yes.
How was that? Like, tell us.